Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. This is the third episode of the Dear Helen Show. Thanks for tuning in. So, Helen, it's a beautiful sunny day. You have a friend here with you today. Who's here?
Charles, bowling.
Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. So, we have 3 questions that have come in from the audience today. Here we go. We got you in the camera. The first one is about office gossip. So it's a young woman who just started a new job and she loves the job, but the girl that's training her is a terrible gossip and talks behind everybody's back. And she wants to know, Dear Helen, what can I do so that she'll keep training me, but make her stop gossiping? That's a hard one.
That is difficult because there are people who love to relay gossip about everybody else. Yeah. It doesn't always malicious. They don't mean to be bad. It's just that they feel everybody should know their opinion of things. There are people who actually cause problems.
It seems like this gal's getting some problems.
And
yeah.
Quite often there is somebody in a group, if you're 10 or 12 people, that they will all pick on. And they become the victim. And it's a terrible situation. These are adult people who have good jobs and they act like children.
Yep.
And I think it's because they aren't busy enough. Their jobs aren't, a clerical job is not stimulating. It's repetitious and it's boring. And you're not creating anything, so you create gossip.
Well, what should this young girl do then? She wants to keep her job, but she doesn't want to continue with...
I think the best thing is always to say, I form my own opinions.
That's good advice.
And I'll find out. And that way you can turn off that they will tell you things.
Okay. I think
that's the best way to handle that.
So she shouldn't go to the manager and say anything.
No, I don't think you ever should take tales to the manager.
Okay.
Because the manager has to manage. And they have to do something about it. And it's not a good idea. And if you can be a little bit tactful and not alienate the person that you're correcting, you'll get along.
Okay, I think that's good advice. All right, our next question is sort of in the category of love. So we have a young gal, well, she's 35 years old, and she's been dating her boyfriend for 3 years, and she's told him that she wants to get married and have children. And he agreed that he also wanted to get married and have children, but he hasn't asked her yet. So she wants to know, should she ask him or should she give him an ultimatum and just break up with him if he doesn't ask her?
Never give a man an ultimatum.
Okay.
However, you can have an ultimatum that he doesn't realize it's an ultimatum.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. What should she do?
One time I was going to paint my house red. And my boyfriend said, no, you don't want a red house. And I said, well, then I'll paint it pink. Well, that was worse than red. The red was the lesser of two evils.
So then he agreed. But then it was your house. You could paint it whatever you wanted. Yeah.
However, you always listen. But I think the best thing to do is cool it.
Okay. Just cool it with him?
And then someday when you're not frustrated, sit down and talk to him. I want to be married and I want to have children. And if I don't marry you, I will look for someone else. Put it as bluntly as you can without hurting his. Men are very delicate when it comes to feelings. And they also like to be the aggressor. So
Should she ask him to marry her or should she not? Women are doing that these days, but she wanted to know what you thought.
she could be very blunt about it and say, do you want to get married? And if he says no, take the answer.
Yeah. You have to be prepared to take the answer. Okay.
And if you don't want to see him without being married, then you leave him. Saturday nights and everything.
So be prepared. If she brings it up, she has to prepare.
She's leaving out the factor of love. You don't, if you're in love, you don't make demands.
Okay.
And I don't know. I've known lots of people who've done it and are happy with it, is living together without being married. Many of them go on to be married, and it works out great. But I also have known cases where the guy is using the girl.
And also, she wants to have children. That was a big part of her letter. And you should probably be married if you have children.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Because I don't think it's fair to the kids.
Right. Are you leaving us, Charles? Well, thanks for stopping by today.
Yeah, they're due to have people come in and mow the grass. So.
All right. Well, it was nice to meet you. Thank you. We have one more question for Helen. So this is about your beauty routine. And the listener says, Dear Helen, I can't believe you're 102 years old. Your skin looks so good. What is your beauty regimen? Please share.
Vaseline.
Vaseline on your skin?
If ever I have a problem, I get my Vaseline. I don't have any beauty products. I never have. Ever. And I am not blessed with good skin. But I've never let it bother me. My sister and my mother had beautiful skin. I have ugly skin.
Well, your listener says it's beautiful and you don't look 102 years old.
Well, I don't worry much.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So just wash your face with soap and water and don't worry.
I don't even use soap on my face.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I use a hot cloth.
Okay.
And you just hold it there.
And you get 8 hours of sleep?
Yes.
And did you always get 8 hours of sleep?
Now, years ago, I got 3 hours. But I've always had a lot of energy. Maybe that makes my body more efficient. I don't know.
So you always stay active?
Well, whenever I wanted to do anything, I did it. And regardless of how much effort it took.
Okay.
And I mean, I had sort of built a house. I could do all the things you do I put up sheetrock, and I never said no if I wanted to do something. And maybe it's a positive attitude that makes things work.
Okay. Well, your listeners do think you're beautiful, and nobody can believe that you're 102. So, do you have any pearls of wisdom as we close off today's episode? Anything to give people comfort? I know the presidential election is about 23 days away and it's causing angst. So, anything calming?
Well, one thing people my age mostly say, this'll pass.
This too
We've
shall
been
pass.
through bad times before, and this country has weathered a lot of storms and a lot of ugliness. Nothing could have been worse than the Civil War. And the bitterness around that time was much worse than it is today. But one thing people do not think, and that's the biggest failing I feel with the American public. They hear some news and they say, oh my, and they don't listen to something else and think about it.
Form their own opinion.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's like these riots they're having downtown Portland now. They are so senseless.
yeah.
And so expensive and so ridiculous. They're not solving a thing.
Nope.
And the mayor made a speech the other night, and he said that he talked to the leaders, but apparently he's not getting his message across because they're just as bad as ever.
Yeah.
And it is ridiculous. If you have a problem, you don't tear up the town. You sit down and talk about it. And I think maybe that's the trouble with the smallest relations, like a marriage or a country. If Mr. Trump talked on the radio or on television every Sunday night and said, we're doing this and we're doing this and we're having this and we're having that, and people would have such a different opinion of him.
It's true. Yep. Definitely. But this too shall pass. Definitely. Okay, well, you can say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
And we'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.